Hello guys, Jerry speaking. Welcome to LJPCBM episode number 93. This is the third to 100 to get to 1,000 special episode special event countdown special. And today we'll be acting to episode number 44, Sonic Adventure 2, with Game A4 Cubes and Sonic 5 as a guest. Part number 1. We have this begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Thank you.
Wow. Very OddGamer in. Hold on, pause. Oh no, I can't turn it down any way. Go back. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. Very OddGamer in Sonic Hedge Adventure 2. Excuse me, smoke. Anyway, continue on. Title card designed by Hyper Voice Acting. Continue on. Special guest reviewers, Game A4 Cube, and Sonify. Continue on.
Hello, Internet viewers. I'm the Fairly Odd Gamer. With Sonic turning 30 this year, I figured that now would be a good time to talk about Sonic again. Even though I talked about some of the classic Sonic games earlier this year, I want to talk more about modern Sonic.
Okay.
Since I talked about Sonic Adventure last year, it's only fitting that I talk about its sequel, Sonic Adventure 2.
Good.
Sonic Adventure being a huge success internationally, and the fact that Sonic turned 10 at the time, Sonic
Wow.
Adventure 2 was released in June 2001 for the Dreamcast.
Okay.
I like to point out that this was the last Sonic game made for the Dreamcast because Sega eventually decided to focus more on game development rather than hardware initiatives. A
Wow.
few months afterward came the release of Sonic
Wow.
Battle for the Nintendo GameCube.
Mm.
You heard right, a Sonic game being released on the Nintendo console. For the
Ooh.
longest time, Nintendo and Sega were sworn rivals not only by console, but also on their company mascots, Mario and Sonic.
Okay.
While I've seen trailers and previews of the game,
Sonic's now on Nintendo GameCube. Makes sense. Continue on.
played it until a few years ago when I finally got to play the game.
Okay.
Well, the GameCube version anyway. It was alright, but I personally believe the first adventure game was better mainly because I played it more.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, be sure to check out the Sonic Adventure review I did with GC on the channel.
Wow. Okay.
Speaking of
Which I did react to. Continue on.
Of the sequel.
Whoa, you better believe I've been waiting for this one.
Wow.
Let's do this.
Awesome! With that said, let's take a look at Sonic Adventure 2.
Alright, gamer. I'm ready for the Sonic Adventure 2 review. Hey, who is this guy?
Name's Peyton. Talented but lazy. Though old friends call me GC. Who the heck are you?
Sonicify?
Hmm.
What are you doing here?
You actually thought you could do a review of Sonic Adventure 2? One of the best Sonic games of all time, in my opinion?
Wow.
That and Sonic Unleashed without me?
No?
Oh, come on, man. I had to review every single classic Sonic game with you for a whole month.
Earn.
Let's just get to the point. What do you both know about Sonic Adventure 2?
To get started, no beating around the bush here. I love this game. It's one of my favorite games on the Dreamcast and one of my most beloved childhood games. I remember those commercials when the game was being teased, showcasing a little snippet of the gameplay and introducing Americans to Sonic's new rival, Shadow. I'll never forget it. It was a gift on my 6th birthday party, and I was floored. Sonic's new look, his speed, his new moves, all of it packaged with the same adventure style I grew to adore. And the writing, back then anyway, blew me away. I just got off the heels of beating Perfect Chaos in Adventure 1, and then we get Sonic jumping out of a helicopter and snowboarding down the streets, running from the police. This game fires on all cylinders right out of the box.
Jesus.
Well, since I am a video game collector, my first experience of Sonic Adventure 2 was on the Sega Dreamcast. I managed to buy it off of eBay, and once I finally got it, I played it, and I remember loving almost everything about it.
Okay.
So after that, I managed to play the Battle version on the PS3 and then on the PC. While Sonic Unleashed is my favorite Sonic game of all time, in my opinion, Sonic Adventure 2 is my pick for the best Sonic game of all time.
Wow.
And judging by the fact that almost everyone wants a Sonic Adventure 3 and or a remake of the adventure games for some reason, I think Sonic fans can agree with that.
Yes.
Fair enough. I would review the Dreamcast version of this game, but the downside is it's too freaking expensive. So I decided to go to the next best thing, and that is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. Is it better than the previous adventure game? Let's find out. After seeing that Sonic is a property of Sega and Sonic Team, we get into a cutscene that somewhat shows what's going to happen, and it was clearly the best shot of Sonic and Shadow together. Something that would make it return in Sonic Generations.
Okay.
Unlike Adventure 1, where you have a choice of 6 characters, you have a choice of 2 teams, each with their own storyline. In this review, we'll try our best to combine both stories into one cohesive plot.
Okay.
Alright then, let's get to it. Believe it or not, the dark side story begins before the hero side. So we start right away with a military base going into emergency lockdown as an intruder is tearing through the facility. And who should this intruder be but Dr. Eggman, who really makes an impression on you, with everything blowing up all around while the doctor comes out blasting. Eggman is at one of the bases of the Guardian Units of Nations, or GUN for short, looking for top secret military weapon that was apparently so dangerous it was locked away.
Wow.
Remember when this guy shoved animals into robots? Anyway, this leads us into Eggman's first level, Iron Gate. This level really gives you a good taste of all you're capable of while you're getting used to the mechanics.
Wow.
And this is one of only 3 gameplay mechanics that is important to this game: mech shooting. With Eggman, it makes sense why you should be shooting at a mech, aka the Eggmobile, aka the Eggwalker, not to be confused with Tails' final boss in Sonic Adventure 1, because he's used to using vehicles and robots for attacking his foes. This is also what Tails uses, but we'll get to why that makes no sense soon.
Makes sense.
While it is similar to Gamma's levels in Adventure 1, there is only one subtle difference. There's no time limit, but instead you have a health bar that can be replenished by finding these health boxes or by collecting rings.
Actually, if you're comparing how Gamma plays versus the mechs in this game, there really are quite a few differences. The mechs don't have a wheel mode, so your machine kind of rambles on through the level. You can get used to it fine, but you're gonna feel like you can't get away from hazards at times.
Yes.
This could be why the health system was in place, considering you're a massive target. Another thing is when you just tap the action button, you'll fire a Vulcan cannon shot, which might damage a small fry, but is essential for breaking wooden crates. Unfortunately, the lock-on is mapped to the same button, so when you're shooting down a lot of crates, you'll be hearing a lot of...
Whoa! Whoa!
Kind of wears on you. Also, Gemma's jumps were really floaty, but this helped him better position himself. Here? Nah. These bad boys are weighed down like crazy and can barely stay airborne for as long, making some jumps a long shot, no pun intended, this time. Personally, I prefer how Gamma handled over the mech walkers, but the Vulcan cannon and even the close-up punch you get makes them more primed for combat.
After completing a level, you then rank based on how fast you complete the level, how many rings you find, and how many points you've gathered.
Wow.
And yes, this is the first Sonic game where you're ranked after every time you finish a level.
And yes, I saw it from Sonic Fans 48 logo's difference. Continue on.
And the start of so many completionist frustrations, but we'll get back to that.
Not to mention you're rewarded with an emblem making its return from SA1. After inserting the Chaos symbol into a console, as well as putting in the password Maria, Eggman discovers that the secret weapon is actually another hedgehog named Shadow.
Since you were so kind to release me, Master, I will grant you one wish.
Just like a genie!
Wow!
We then see Shadow fight a mech named Hotshot, or as the game calls it...
This is Scorpion Troops Hotshot.
Thank you. And Shadow defeats it in an embarrassingly easy way. Stand on a crate, wait for it to come to you, and then homing attack it until it be dead.
Destroying that guard robot was spectacular.
So, Shadow, you are the military's top secret weapon. But what did you mean when you said you will grant me a wish?
Bring more Chaos Emeralds.
Shadow, wait!
I'll be waiting for you in the central control room on the Space Colony Ark.
Wow.
And I'll never mention that one wish again. Okay, bye. Tee.
Meanwhile, in the desert, Knuckles and a new character named Rouge the Bat moan and complain over who really owns the Master Emerald, only to have it stolen by Eggman.
Wow.
And who is Rouge, you may ask? Well, not only does it have a heart-shaped bra, but she's also a fine collector of jewels and wants to add the Master Emerald to her collection. Plus, she's a secret agent that works for the previously mentioned Gun. Think of it as this game's version of the U.S. military.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, in order to prevent the Master Emerald being stolen, Knuckles deliberately destroys the Master Emerald by punching it somehow. Maybe that explains the Bismillah Kraken, but we'll get to that later. Because of this, both Knuckles and Rouge have to find pieces of the Master Emerald. This leads to Rouge's first level, Dry Lagoon, as well as Knuckles' first stage, Wild Canyon. Preparing for Sonic Adventure 1 are treasure hunting levels, in which Knuckles or Rouge have to find 3 emerald pieces. But for some odd reason, they took the gameplay mechanic from the previous game and made it even worse. Why, you may ask? Let's start with the radar. If you're close to any emerald piece in the first game, the radar will then detect it, which is a good thing. But here, the radar has been butchered in which it only detects 1 emerald piece at a time. Does that mean you can only find that specific emerald piece? No. As a matter of fact, you can collect any emerald piece in these stages. Well,
Yes.
that's good, except the radar doesn't show you that.
Wow.
Whoa. Calm down, gamer. Remember what happened in the Finding Nemo review?
Which I did talk about in episode 50 of LJPCBM. To continue on.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay then.
What? Oh, wait, I remember.
Yeah. I see how it is.
Anyway, my overall thoughts on the treasure hunting stages, they're not very good. These stages can take a very short time if you're extremely lucky. If you're not so lucky, these levels can take a very long time to complete. And at least Knuckles moves faster than last time, as well as the newcomer Rouge. However, it doesn't help much when you're trying to punch enemies or crates, but at least you can move faster.
Speaking of the last game, there's once again plenty of changes made to how Knuckles controls. You brought up punching, but the combo has been changed up. Where originally Knuckles would charge forward after 3 punches, now he does a jumping uppercut. Also, when you're running, you no longer roll into a ball, but instead do a running combo. Also, if you hold the button after your 3rd hit, Knuckles or Rouge will continue going in that direction the attack went for an extra second or 2. Not the most useful, but it's something of a substitute. Knuckles and Rouge also move faster than the Adventure days, yes, but the glide has also been changed.
Makes
What
sense.
I noticed, though, is the glide in Adventure 1 was actually a lot heavier than in this game. In order to get solid distance, you need to hold a direction down and not turn as much, which makes sense for a glide move. However, since Rouge has wings and can technically fly,
Like a bat, you know. Continue on.
they went with the direction as sort of a compromise. You can get some serious distance with the glide in SA2. This is great for levels with bottomless pits or those really tall levels we'll get to later.
Let me just get back on this one bit, okay? Hang on. What's that over there? See here, hold on. Go back one.
This is great for
Reminds me of Halloween. Continue on.
levels with bottomless pits or those really tall levels we'll get to later. Knuckles and Rouge have much more possibilities to explore and maneuver around the level, like the drill dive, which is done with the action button in midair, sending your treasure hunter in a literal downward spiral, and for getting down quickly. Also, when you get the upgrade for it, which we'll talk later, digging is also so much easier, since you can just get the action command on the screen and you'll dig on ground or walls. You can also use the drill dive to dig too. Way less clunky than trying to press the jump and action buttons together.
Okay.
Sure drew the long straw here, didn't he?
Meanwhile, in the hero's story, Sonic is in a gun helicopter because apparently he got arrested. He then escapes, takes off with a piece of the helicopter somehow.
Wow. Wow. It's like serving. Wow. Makes sense. Like a helicopter difference. Okay. Yeah!
This leads to City Escape, which is, let's be real here, fans, the best opening Sonic stage ever! Which, ironically, they never do. There's nothing about this stage that could possibly... Oh boy. Let's talk about this guy. This is Ono, a roboticized child that acts as a tutorial. As you can see, he can be a pain to listen to.
At least you can abuse him however you like to.
Good. Let's not listen to this guy ever again.
Either way, this stage is awesome. It has Sonic skateboarding through what looks like San Francisco set to awesome stage music, where you get to cause property damage to thousands of cars. Yay!
Yay!
No, it's best to point out this is the third game I know of that is based in San Francisco. Radio Taxi, Taxi Man, and now this.
And if you want this, Marshall, this video by continue on.
And to make it even more interesting, a giant gun truck goes after Sonic as he perfects the Joestar secret technique.
In case you missed the last review, I brought up that the original name for a snowboard was actually the Snurfer.
Huh. I was actually wondering where Hux got it from. Thanks, man.
Hey dude, does somebody need me? Oh yeah, what's up? Nothing much. Are you guys playing Sonic Adventure 2? Pretty much. Why do you ask? Oh, nothing. Is there a reason why? Well, in the last review, I got a text message from Sonic saying I should review one of his games for his birthday soon.
So you're the one that got my message.
Who said that?
I did. The world's fastest thing alive.
Wow!
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Holy!
Oh my god, this is amazing!
I'm so nervous.
Suddenly I'm in a video with Sonic.
Wow! 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 That was surprising! The other one was
That was easy.
exactly! Like, wow! Surprise! I get my, noisemakers, unfortunately. Sorry! Continue on.
Impersonators.
Hey, I am not.
Who is that?
Impersonators.
I'm so nervous.
I didn't think you were
Great.
so good.
Suddenly I'm in a video with Sonic impersonators.
Hey, I am not.
Two other characters too.
Yeah.
Sonic, I love everything you've done. Exactly, what are you doing here?
Well, I heard that you're reviewing one of my games, and I was wondering if I could join you.
What do you think, guys? You want Sonic to join in for the review?
Heck yeah, I do.
Oh, you freaking know it!
Alright, I'll let you guys enjoy your fun. Later, dudes! Some Sonic and Shadows gameplay style are about the same as Adventure 1. Fast-paced platforming with the homing attack and boosting. However, there are some new elements to talk about. First up, there's a somersault, allowing you to destroy containers and or squeeze through tight areas. Finally, there's rail grinding. It's mainly used to either gain speed, score bonus points, or even take a shortcut if possible. Holding down the crouch button allows you to gain more speed, but try to maintain your balance with the analog stick to keep the speed going.
Wow.
In my opinion, Sonic and Shadows gameplay is mostly the same from Adventure 1, but it has been improved from the ground up. For example, there are new upgrades to collect like the bounce bracelet, the fire ring, but some upgrades returned from Adventure 1, which has also been improved on.
Makes sense.
Like Gamer said, there's rail grinding, which has become a staple in Sonic games to this day and has since been improved upon in each game. Except for 06, where you can walk up to the rails slowly and start grinding at top speed.
Okay.
Either way, it feels good to run fast as both Sonic and Shadow.
Okay.
This time there aren't as many differences between Adventures 1 and 2.
And if you watch this remix, for you, buddy, on this whole speed up costumes and everything, continue on.
Yet. The control does feel more loose when you're going at high speeds. Oftentimes, it feels like you're about to lose control and Sonic will just plummet off a cliff by accident.
Ah.
Try to, since he stops himself at a ledge, which might be another developer fix, but
Yeah.
I digress. Sonic's jump also feels more floaty compared to Adventure 1, but it's kind of subtle. Basically, Sonic falls much slower now. Maybe that's where he picked up his tendency to skydive without a parachute in the modern games.
Wow.
Basically, it'll help position Sonic if you're falling for a really long time. It's
Wow.
not possible to land on a rail to save yourself. Also, with the somersault on the same button as the spin dash, you can't mash the button to rocket through at top speeds, which is kind of a shame. It ends up making the spin dash feel a little more unwieldy. I may prefer how Sonic handles in the first game, but things still feel really good.
Wait, how do you know all this?
Thanks to be early. Now, how about we head back over to the dark side?
Why should I waste money lighting the whole store?
Next up for Eggman is Sand Ocean,
Wow.
where he must traverse ancient Egyptian ruins to reach the desert base, while also clearing out gun soldiers on the way. I
Wow.
like to think this base was where he set up shop in Sandopolis. Also, the sand here is of the much faster variety, and the mechs can't
Ooh.
get out. Fall in, and you're down 1 egg in the carton. Otherwise, you're on a pretty solid level.
What's it like, you may ask? Well, in the words of
Really, gamer? You're gonna do that joke again?
Oh, come on, it's one of my favorite running gags.
Yes.
Wait, what are you talking about?
Gamer always likes to use a certain quote from a certain movie whenever sand is part of a video game.
Allow me to show you. In the words of Anakin Skywalker,
It's coarse, rough, and irritating.
And it gets everywhere. Trust me, I've been in sand many times before.
So anyway, there's way more to do here. You got plenty of enemies to shoot at, as well as the returning dynamite packs from the first game. Shoot them down and blow stuff up. Easy. All kinds of opportunities to rack up some insane combos for technique points.
Wow.
Hold up. We didn't talk about that yet, did we?
Oh, I knew I forgot something.
No sweat. Sonic, if you take this. I'm gonna grab a ham sandwich.
basically they're pretty easy if you know how it works for each character. For example, Tails' stages require you to lock onto as many enemies as you can, and then shoot them automatically. In Sonic stages, you have to do a bunch of homing attacks, tricks in the air, and lightspeed dashes.
Wow.
And the Knuckles stages require you to find the Master Emerald pieces as quick as you can, which is absolutely luck-based if you really think.
Woo-wee.
Not bad, dude. Ah! It's frustrating. So Eggman arrives at his base, where he catches a news report of the recent break-in at the bank, where the only thing stolen was a Chaos Symbol. Who is the culprit? Why, none other than Sonic the Hedgehog. Huh.
Wow.
Sonic, have you lost weight? New haircut? Went to Hot Top? Wait a minute! You're not Sonic! I
The
can't
show.
believe this.
Seriously? Is the government really this dumb to confuse me with Shadow?
Yes. As a matter of fact, let's compare Sonic with Shadow. As you can clearly see, Shadow is black with shades of red. His spikes are curled up, and he has white fur on his chest. Sonic here is completely different. He's a blue hedgehog with his spikes curled down and no fur on his chest whatsoever.
Also, there is the fact that despite earlier we saw the government holding Shadow at gun, they still can't tell the difference between Sonic and Shadow. And another gigantic plot hole, when Eggman broke into Gun HQ, they tried to fend off Eggman and keep him from getting to Shadow. So is this game telling me that after Eggman freed Shadow and got away, they never noticed that Shadow was gone?
Jesus!
Them being the equivalent of the U.S. military in this game, they really do suck at their own jobs. Actually, what am I talking about? That's pretty much a staple in my.
Oh yeah, and the Star Wars review and AVG with AVGN's a guest on this thing, but I haven't seen the movies yet of TMNT nor as TMNT Out of Shells to 2012-2014. Continue on.
These days.
Well, I'm the kind of guy who tries to make sense of things like this. Perhaps this was Gunn trying to cover things up? No one was meant to know about the top secret military thingy, so their official statement was that it was Sonic doing this and Gunn is trying to recapture him with the people just being oblivious. Or maybe they're just colorblind.
Ah!
Look, I wasn't there when this all happened, so don't blame me for all of this.
Meanwhile, at the bridge, Shadow begins having a flashback about a
Is that what? Is that a girl? Is that a woman? Jesus. In the video game? First of all, why in the Sonic Hedgehog franchise? Secondly, okay. I am speechless. Continue on.
Robotnik 50 years ago. During Maria's final breath, Shadow is ejected from the Ark via a capsule as Maria begs of Shadow something before sending him out of the Ark in the capsule. We don't know quite yet what's going on. Shadow clearly doesn't either. But according to him, well...
Jesus!
Revenge.
Okay, hold the phone. How does Shadow think this is a secret act of revenge?
Well, I can assume that he wants to avenge Maria's death by throwing everyone a gun. I mean, they are the ones that put the bullet on Maria's back.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Oh yeah. First of all, Maria from Sesame Street, then Maria from Sonic Hedgehog. What are we up to? Different type of skin? I don't know. Continue on.
Running from someone and then getting shoved into a capsule while Maria collapses. He's probably thinking...
I'm not trying to be racist here, but But I'm trying to just try to let you know about what's going on. I don't know the character's name. I don't know what the character is at the time, but I'm confused. Continue on.
Humanity's fault, and Maria wanted this vengeance. There might be another reason, but that's for later.
This leads to Shadow's first level, Radical Highway. It's a fun level with lots of springs to bounce on, and even those steamroller thingamajigs, where sometimes you can somersault through, and sometimes you can't.
Yeah.
Plus Lake City Escape, the level looks a lot like the Golden Gate Bridge. Maybe they should have called this level Golden Gate.
Put that on a postcard. Come to the Golden Gate Bridge. We have military soldiers shoot at hedgehogs.
Wow, kind of reminds me of Rocket Power difference. Continue on.
But they'll fire at you. Come on down.
You're the next contestant on The Price is Right. Continue on.
While Sonic runs into another gunfighter named Bigfoot.
Not to be confused with the monster truck or the Sasquatch.
Or my nickname in middle school.
In a way, this is similar to Hotshot from the Dark Story, but there are boxes outside their playable arena, and no big laser beam like in Hotshot.
Oh.
That's pretty much it, except it leads to the climactic moment where Sonic meets Shadow for the first time.
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
That's the Chaos Emerald.
Uh-huh.
Now I know what's going on. The military has mistaken me for the likes of you.
Jesus.
So, where do you think you're going with that emerald? Say something, you fake hedgehog.
Jesus.
Control.
Kind of reminds me of the Five and Buzz and then another Buzz in Toy Story 2. Continue on.
Well, yeah, this is the game that introduces Chaos Control, at which he uses the Chaos Emerald to warp from one area to another at lightning fast speed.
I'm the world's ultimate life form. Farewell.
But, uh-oh, Sonic gets arrested again.
I'm not the guy! I am not the guy!
Sheesh, these guys never let up. At least the Piantas from Super Mario Sunshine let Mario do what he could to help clear his name. Sonic is just a stone's throw from the chopping block. Dark.
This leads to Rouge's next level, Headquarters. It's here where we find out that she's an agent of Gun by talking into an earpiece. Anyway, instead of Chaos Emeralds, Rouge now has to find 3 keys in order to gain entry to Eggman's hidden base.
It's a space transporter. Destination has been set to
Ugh.
Earth. Wasn't that space colony shut down over 50 years ago? What's he doing up there anyway? Doesn't matter. It's my mission to find out what he's up to.
On to Eggman's next level, Lost Colony. It's best to point out that there are certain levels that include a small cutscene playing right when the level starts. In this case, Eggman has to find the central control room Shadow mentioned after defeating the large gun robot. And how does he get there? By destroying Gun's defenses, of course. It's basically required here because the gimmick of this level is that it's freaking dark!
Wow.
Even though the lighting is slightly brighter in the re-releases, it doesn't count on how tricky this level is to navigate. You have to keep shooting and lighting your way with the explosions your shots cause, but they don't last long. So you better make sure you can see where you're going, otherwise you're fumbling in the dark like that crazy Bandicoot in his first game.
We then see Shadow show Dr. Eggman the Ark's most dangerous weapon, the Eclipse Cannon.
Yeah.
Which with all 7 Chaos Emeralds can destroy an entire planet.
Uh-huh.
Destroying an entire planet. Was this my grandfather's legacy?
But it's been deactivated for some time now.
Yeah, remember when Shadow committed Grand Theft Emerald before? Here you go.
But suddenly Rouge pops in and decides to offer Eggman a deal he can't refuse. She offers Eggman the location of the remaining Chaos Emeralds, knowing that she's a treasure hunter, allowing her to join the treacherous trio.
They get over to Prison Island and get ready to commit some serious villain stuff. Rouge informs them of the emeralds being held in the gun base, and while she runs to collect, and Eggman goes keeps the forces busy, Shadow has to plant a powerful explosive, and the entire Prison Island will be blown to smithereens.
Wow.
Again, this is the same guy who makes robots with little animals inside them, and he's blowing up an entire island before they even know what hit them. Meaning, no one will escape. Rated E, everybody. Rated E.
For everyone. Exactly. Continue on.
Anyway, on to the next Eggman stage, Weapons Bed. This level is awesome to go nuts in. All the inactive robots, they all rack up the counter so you can get some serious points on the board. The planes flying everywhere, the troops going all after you. This is one action-packed mission. I love it. After all that, Eggman regroups with Shadow and Rouge to ensure they're all set.
Amy, what are you doing here?
Yep, Amy appears out of nowhere mistaking Shadow for Sonic, even though he feels like he's enjoying the moment?
Oh yeah, totally edgy the hedgy.
Oh, hi, Tails.
Ah, there he is. He's beginning to feel a little lacking in sidekickery. Tails was already on his way to the prison island on a rescue mission for Sonic, and he sees Eggman holding Amy hostage. Rather than abandon his beloved plane, something he'll never ever do in the series at all, he transforms the Tornado 2 into his new battle mode, Cyclone. It's another mech walker. Okay? This leads into a one-on-one boss fight against Dr. Eggman, or Tails if you're playing the Dark Story. Yeah, remember the character battles from the previous games that were, oh no, pretty pathetic? They were brought back in this game with a couple of improvements by virtue of being treated like an actual boss instead of an afterthought. Plus, taking on the other character is at least a neat concept, being on equal footing and all. Too bad the fights are still nothing too special. This fight, just mash the button and align the Vulcan cannon and punch attacks and you're golden. Lock-on shots are pretty slow and are easily dodged. In character battles, I swear they move faster in stages.
Yeah.
Anyway, Eggman lets Tails go, so Tails not only frees Amy from the clutches of Eggman, but he also has to break Sonic out of prison. And such a nice guy Eggman is sometimes, maybe just misses, wait, wrong show. We then get to Tails' first level, Prison Lane. But instead of high-speed flying levels like in SA1, we now have Tails in a mech.
Wow.
Wait, seriously? I thought this was Sonic Adventure 2, not Steel Battalion!
Personally, I think the mech levels aren't that bad. Well, for Eggman. Why does Tails have to be in a mech? Some of the later cutscenes will actually see Tails out of his mech. So why is that?
Well, you see, Tails originally wasn't supposed to be playable in the game.
What? It's fine. Now allow me to.
Originally wasn't supposed to be playable in the game.
What? It's fine. Now allow me to explain.
In the development stages of Sonic Adventure 2, Tails wasn't originally going to be playable in the game. But due to fan backlash, Sonic Team decided at the last minute to make him playable by, what else, copying Eggman's gameplay mechanics but with a different coat of paint.
So in other words, Tails was shoehorned into the game as an Eggman clone.
Yep, pretty much.
Who says fan whining doesn't change things?
Wow. Hate that part character, but this character is much better in the first and second movie. Watch this remix for you, but continue on.
Anyway, Amy comes in to free Sonic from his cell. Why, you may ask?
The reason I'm in here is because of that fake hedgehog.
You mean that black hedgehog?
That's racist, Amy.
Sonic is now free, and we transition into his next level, Metal Harbor. It's here where we get the Lightspeed Dash, which was in SA1, but unlike that game, you can now use it immediately without needing to spin dash. Thank God!
Yeah, but the Lightspeed shoes look more different than the previous game. Wonder why that is.
Before we continue, we just wanted to say that this review is sponsored by Soap Shoes. Thanks to Soap Shoes, you can run faster, jump higher, and even grind on rails without the need for a skateboard.
Wow.
They come in a variety of colors,
Wow.
shapes, and quality of build. Take them outside today, realize just how out of shape you are, and feel terrible about yourself, and never wear them again. See them in the latest, greatest, and clearly onlyest game we ever played, Sonic Adventure 2, with our name plastered everywhere, thus making the game the only reason people knew we ever existed at all. Are they comfy and form-fitting? Maybe. No one ever actually wore them. Use them for your everyday life and turn heads. As people wonder why...
Wait.
Never actually wore them. Use them for your everyday life and turn head.
Kinda reminds me of this woman coming with me, Sherry Lewis. Continue on.
As people wonder why you decided to put on your feet. Check the link in the description for our new YouTube videos that we made after all this time because we had absolutely nothing better to do. Order today and possibly get nothing for absolutely free with your order of no money down and nothing due later or ever. And use the special promo code FREESOAPNOW for 100% off your order and for scaring any anime weebs in your area. Soap Shoes. Please buy Soap Shoes.
Wow.
Order following this fake advertisement, not sponsored.
Why was it saying that I'm not sponsored by
Any subsidiary of Soap Shoes.
any sponsorship of Soap Shoes?
Side effects may include increased fatigue.
But side effects may include sweat and body oil.
Sweat, body odor, explosive.
Explosive. Ugh.
Explosive diarrhea.
Okay. It's probably
Possible ability to be attached to gold ring.
gold rings. Spider falling in midair.
Floating in midair.
Okay. And sending you through the high speeds.
Through the high speeds.
LPB Productions and everyone involved with
LPB Productions and everyone involved.
Fair Gamer will not claim
Fair
responsibility
Gamer will not claim responsibility
for anyone foolish enough to fall
for anyone foolish enough.
for this for advertising. Okay, go ahead. We'll continue on.
Ice soap shoes. Warning: the following is a fake advertisement, not sponsored by any subsidiary of soap shoes. Side effects may include increased fatigue, sweaty, body odor, explosive diarrhea, and the possible ability to be attached to gold rings inexplicably floating in midair and sending you through at high speeds. LPP Productions and everyone involved with the Fairly OddGamer will not claim responsibility for anyone foolish enough to fall for this phony advertisement.
Barbie.
Return you to your regularly scheduled programming.
Barbie.
It was weird.
Let's never do that again.
Agreed.
Okay then, moving on.
Speaking of which, let's talk about the upgrades. Since there are no hub worlds in this game, you have to find these upgrades in the levels. And some levels require you to retrieve said upgrades before progressing, like the bazooka for Tails, the air necklace for Knuckles, and so on. Also, returning from Adventure 1 is the Ancient Light, allowing both Sonic and Shadow to do the light speed attack.
Okay.
Shadow, he looks like a moon when trying to attack enemies.
However, there are some upgrades that are not required for progression in the main storyline, like having Knuckles and Rouge be able to see invisible items with sunglasses and treasure scopes. Rocking some serious style there, Knuckles, by the way. But we didn't have the most infamous upgrade in the entire game.
You got the magic hands. They useless though, so ignore them.
The magic hands allow Sonic to trap a lesser enemy in a circle and throw it at obstacles. Why can't I just make all the enemies trapped and then move on? I don't know. Act Sonic Team.
Wow.
Why ask me?
Oh, no. I meant Sonic Team as in the developers of your games.
Yes.
Anyway, Metal Harbor is a very fun level. That is except for the infamous rocket launch, in which you have to make it all the way to the midway point of the rocket. But if you want to have a chance to A-rank the stage, you have to make it all the way to the top of the rocket, which is easier said than done.
Yes.
In order to make it to the top of the rocket, you have to completely climb in one flawless run. If you mess up at any point, then you have no choice but to reset the level all the way to the beginning.
Yes.
However, I did manage to make it to the top, and it only took me 32 attempts. I mean it. 32 full playthroughs of Metal Harbor. And what did I get out of it? A B rank.
Ooh, that hurts. I remember completion frustration, right? Here's the worst of it. You're more patient than I am, gamer. I'd have gotten sick of it way before 32 times.
On to Rouge's next level, Security Hall, in which Rouge has to find 3 Chaos Emeralds while under a time limit.
I'm in position, Doctor. Tell me when. There's been an unexpected delay on my end. There's no more time to waste. Set the timer for 15 minutes. Let's go, Rouge.
5 minutes should be plenty. Here I go.
Wow.
Okay, first off, he said 15 minutes, not 5.
Wow.
Second, and most importantly, doesn't Rouge work for gun? If that's the case, then why do I have to go through all the security stuff in the first place? Aren't they already in on this?
Well, Bruce has got to get the Chaos Emeralds and then give herself 10 minutes to skedaddle.
Yes.
It's an act. It's got to be convincing.
Yeah, you got a point there. Anyway, after collecting the Chaos Emeralds, Rouge is trapped in a security vault with another gunship.
This is Black Dog headquarters.
Clearly piloted by Knuckles the Echidna. Or rather, voiced by the guy who also voices Knuckles, being Scott Dreyer.
Speaking of which, the voice acting in this game is really good. Everyone has improved from Adventure 1. However, Tails and Knuckles do not have the same voice actors from the previous game, with Tails now being voiced by Connor Bringus.
Because his brother Tori, who voiced Tails in Adventure 1 and Shuffle, was too old to voice him at the time.
And Knuckles, now played by Scott Dreyer, as previously mentioned.
As for the newcomers, we have Shadow, voiced by David Humphrey, and Rouge, voiced by the game's voice director, Lonnie Manila, who voiced Lucas in Smash Brothers, for the Koopalings from the recent Mario games, and even...
Oh look! An arrow! Aren't these game designers wonderful?
No!
If you watch this, Shoes Will Not Work, aka Reptile, is for you. Continue on.
Questionable voice acting history aside, Lanny does an amazing job as Rouge. Easily my favorite voice for her. And David Humphrey as Shadow? Awesome. He knew how to sound like someone who was trying to be hardcore, but was really a sensitive character full of depth. with extra cheese. And I agree, everyone else is way improved. Ryan Drummond as Sonic finally has his style nailed. Amy's as cute and slightly obnoxious as ever. And Eggman? Well, you tell me.
So it turns out Rouge is now locked up inside the safe with the Chaos Emeralds.
Wait, how did that happen? Was it a trap? But she works for good. Don't forget it. But after some Maria flashbacks, Shadow now has to rescue Rouge. This leads to Shadow's next level, White Jungle. This is the forest level of the game, but unlike the previous Shadow stage, it's under a time limit, and you use these slingshots to get around multiple pits and high platforms. This is also the stage where Shadow gets used to the light-speed dash for the first time.
Wow.
And it has a pretty cool song to go along with it. It's an awesome stage to say the least. After that, Sonic and Shadow meet up with each other, calling each other out in the process.
Faker.
I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you eat those words.
And then the boss fight against Sonic or Shadow, depending on which story you pick, begins. It's just another character battle, but this time you can home and attack each other all you want, as long as you don't fall off. It's a good fight. After that, it's time to escape Prison Island before it blows up, leading to another Sonic level, Green Forest.
Wow.
You'd think it'd be the same level as White Jungle, but you'd be wrong if you did say that, because the level is quite different. For example, there's no slingshots, but rather more places where you can use light-speed dash. And there's more epic vine swinging! But that's where the differences end, as it is also a race against the clock before Prison Island blows up, and, I'm not kidding, killing everyone who was on the island before it blew up. I mean, think about it. We don't see anyone else escape except for Team Sonic and Team Dark. So what else could have happened?
Yeah.
Well, Shadow saves Rouge and the Chaos Emeralds via Chaos Control seconds before the island explodes. Moving on to Knuckles' next level, Pumpkin Hill. Probably one of my favorite levels based on the music alone. While we're at it, let's talk about the soundtrack. It's amazing. But comparing it to Sonic Adventure 1, though, it's questionable. Sonic Adventure has a variety of music genres, making them fit within each of the game's environments, whether for stages or cutscenes. On the other hand, the music in Sonic Adventure 2 is mostly rock. And while I like rock, it'd be nice to have more variety within the game's music. Luckily, the only levels that don't have any elements of rock are Knuckles with cheesy rapping and Rouge with smooth jazz.
It is a little samey, yeah, but I can't hate on this soundtrack. I'm a little biased because I grew up with this, but come on, so many tracks in this game are just ear candy. Of course, the raps are great to listen to, and sometimes I'll listen to Dry Lagoon if I'm in the mood to chill, but come on. Metal Harbor, Green Forest, Radical Highway, and later levels, and every Sonic fan playing this game, no matter how much of a free thinker they are, will always sing along with Escape from the City. I love it.
What about Live and Learn?
Oh, dude, that song rocks. Even though I admit it's kind of overdone. It's great, but songs like Open Your Heart, What I'm Made Of, or even Night of the Wind need more love as well. Point is, the game has all the high-octane rock I could ask for when blasting through at Sonic speeds. End of story.
Personally, I love all the songs in Sonic Adventure 2. With the exception of Shadow's theme song, Throw It All Away, which sounds like it was done by a person trying way too hard to hit high notes.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't think of a single bad song in the game. Even the rap music didn't bother me, nor the smooth jazz. It's really catchy if you're into this kind of music. Plus, this soundtrack has variety, and that's why it always stands out to me. Anyway, we see a flashback with Shadow and Maria, talking about what it would be like on Earth, and that the professor's work was dedicated to all the people that lived there.
He once told that the reason for his existence was making people happy through the power of science.
Because if there's anything we've learned from Spider-Man, it's that stories about science trying to help humanity almost always goes wrong for the scientists! Anyway, Rouge interrupts the flashbacks, and it's here where we find out that Shadow's memory is a bit fuzzy. All joking aside, this is actually one of the best character development scenes for Shadow. It shows how shy yet mysterious he could be, which is more than I can say for the Colors era. It also shows if you want to know more about the story, then play the Dark story. Anyway, Eggman tells Rouge and Shadow that the Eclipse Cannon demonstration is ready to go, despite having 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds.
And with that, Eggman makes his plan known to the world in a way that, if you're a fan of anything related to Sonic fan media, you'll know the scene front to back at this point. Eggman gives everyone 24 hours to surrender to the Eggman Empire, or he'll use the power of the Eclipse Cannon to annihilate everything. To show he isn't bluffing, Eggman fires his super laser fires a warning shot of the cannon at the moon, shattering half of it. This is meant to set the world ablaze with fear in hopes of bringing everyone to their knees, bowing to Eggman. Instead, apparently no one really cared. Go figure. By the way, I'm sure everyone's wondering about those timestamps before each cutscene. Now, given the race against the clock, having a sort of running timer makes sense. It's kind of like if Sonic was in 24. Strange, but cool.
Seeing that 24 hours is too long for the Eclipse Cannon to recharge, they need all 7 Chaos Emeralds to unleash its full potential. Oh, and remember the deal with Eggman and Rouge earlier? Well, Eggman made an article that may be a callback from the first game. But anyway, the point is they have to find the last emerald. Right after Rouge speaks to Gun about Project Shadow.
Just a reminder, don't forget about my jewelry.
Ooh. So after Eggman blows
Wait,
up
what's
half
that?
the moon. So after Eggman blows up half the moon, Amy acts 6.
Half of the moon is gone?
Yes, Amy. You did see the beaming light of doom blowing up a chunk of the moon, right? Anyway, the police find Sonic again, and they have to make their escape. This then leads to the next Tails level, Mission Street, after they figure out why Eggman needs the Chaos Emeralds in the first place.
So the stage begins, and our mission on the street called Mission Street, Tails is to escape from the military, on his mech, and not in his plane. That is also his mech. They were really reaching for reasons for Tails to be useful here, weren't they? I'd say he would at least be a distraction, but Sonic said that's what he was doing. Whatever. This is a solid Tails level. Plenty of room to move, all kinds of stuff to shoot. You get the hyper booster here, yada yada yada, same stuff. There's a lot of moments of lousy enemy placement, since there are a lot of times where a gun mech will just drop on your head and blindside you. The earthquake near the end was kind of a neat set piece, and when that caused bridges to fall on you with the camera warning you beforehand, well, I still wish Tails goes out of his mech anyway. You had to get through it nice, and you hit a dead end. Nice escape route there, Foxboy. Maybe that's where he finally decided to use his plane as a plane. Or not.
This somehow leads to Knuckles' next stage, Aquatic Mine. It's here where he gets the previously mentioned air necklace, allowing Knuckles to breathe underwater without the need of air bubbles.
Makes sense.
He finds more pieces of the Master Emerald, only to find Tails and Amy as he climbs out of a sewer pipe. Tails figures out that Eggman may have taken the remaining Chaos Emeralds to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by capitalism.
Space!
Wow.
After Tails finds the transcripts between Eggman and the President via government computer, Tails transforms his mech this time into a car as we head into Tails' next stage, Route 101.
As well as Route 280 for Rouge. In these sections, both Tails and Rouge have to drive around San Francisco in a car as Tails tries to track down the President while Rouge tries to track down Tails. You speed up by pressing the jump button and can even boost after running into these balloons. One thing I suggest you do in these sections is drift, which can be accomplished by double tapping the acceleration button. Why? Because turning is hard. Most times when I turn, I end up running into a wall or even a bottomless pit. Seriously, name one other Sonic game that has a good driving mechanic. Okay, you made your...
Yeah, Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing. Okay, makes sense. And Team Sonic Racing, never heard of these racing games before in my life. Continue on.
Yeah, and even if Sonic in a car works in the future games, this is not a good gameplay style for this game. It only shows up twice in the entire game, once in the hero story and the other in the dark story, and it comes right out of nowhere.
Kind of reminds me of, let's just say, Mario Kart games to me. Continue on.
The turning!
Wow.
The turning is awful!
Wow.
If you play these stages, you most likely want to turn. But instead, you slide against the wall, which leads to these sound effects. Over, and over, and over!
Not to mention there's actually a time limit. Now, when you get the controls down, you can clear with little trouble on the normal missions. But when you have to make it on a much tighter time limit, you essentially have to master the art of slip drifting. Which is my way of saying double tap that accelerate button and keep those tires screeching. It makes turning more manageable, and you can actually leave the walls and cars alone. And you crash during that tight limits, you might as well restart. There is no way you'll rapidly recover from that.
Yes.
Sega decided to make this a special side game with everyone else in cards, huh?
Uh-huh.
We'll get to that later. Dr. Eggman gets in contact with the president as he threatens to destroy the Earth in 24 hours unless he surrenders to the Eggman Empire. Something gets interrupted by Sonic as he finds out that he's intercepted from the space colony Ark.
After that, we have the next Shadow stage, Skyrail. It's mostly just rail grinding, but what did you expect from a level called Skyrail?
Uh-huh.
Anyway, Shadow catches up with the tornado as he flies over to the hidden base.
Mm-hmm. What was that? Continue on.
Sure to give them a warm welcome.
With Knuckles now deciding to tag along since Rouge was involved, Sonic, Tails, and Amy find a pyramid where Eggman's hidden base is. Tails decides to find an entrance as we head to his next stage, Hidden Base. Hey, found it. Anyway, this is your standard block platforming with sporadic shooting and more gun mechs, dynamite packs, and for the first time in this game, Eggman robots from Adventure 1 make a return. Kikis with their bombs, the Orbonauts and Goros. It's great to see these guys back. Plus, it breaks up the monotony of the enemies. You do get tired of the same gun robots all over the place. Right into Eggman, at least his designs are unique. Also, this is Tails' quicksand level, so don't fall off or you're down a life. You really needed to leave the tornado home for this one, Tails. Even if it helps you across the rough terrain and tricky jumps, there seems to be something you're forgetting. You can fly! Also, fun fact.
It's a pad difference. Continue on.
Level. Something you're forgetting. You can fly! Also, fun fact, this is the first Tails level I ever got an A rank in.
On to Pyramid Cave, one of two awful Sonic stages in this game. This stage will have you pick up keys, put them in the right places, and then go for the door. Either that, or homing attack these hourglasses, which open a series of doors. You have to hope for the best that you can make it through them. There's even a part where you have to hit an hourglass and make it to the other end of a long curvy hallway without touching these ghost thingies, which is easier said than done. Oh yeah, there are ghosts in this game, which you can first see on Pumpkin Hill. They'll either annoy you or jump scare you out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I hated them back then, and I hate them even more now.
It's also a level where Sonic has to...
Hold on. What do you say?
I hated them back then, and I hate them even more now.
Love it. Yeah, I don't know what to do. I would go what, but I hate the move. Okay, I felt worried for Sonic, but continue on.
It's also a level where Sonic has the bounce bracelet, allowing Sonic to bounce on the floor for extra height. It's not the bubble shield from Sonic 3 and Knuckles, only without the extra protection.
Yes.
And like Adventure 1, the electric shield is back. Since I already talked about it in the Adventure 1 review, talking about it here would be redundant. Eventually, I find a locked door that leads to the center of the base. The only way to get to the said locked door is to find a key. You know what that means?
What? Why do I have to find the key? We're counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter.
So on to the next Knuckles stage, Death Chamber. Similar to Headquarters with Rouge, Knuckles now has to find 3 keys in order to gain access to the center of Eggman's base. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
Huh? Who's
Yeah. Who could possibly go wrong for Bubsy? Continue on.
there?
Wow.
What the? A ghost?
Well, this is more convincing than his original take.
Well,
What? A ghost?
we do different.
At least they kept a better take this time. Isn't that right, Adventure 1 Knuckles?
And when Knuckles has a boss battle against King Boom Boo, not only does Ghost hurl blue fireballs at you and be weakened by sunlight via hourglass, but also has a Skittles tongue. Look at it, he's clearly tasted the rainbow. King Boom Boo hides underground or by a wall, which Knuckles can dig out thanks to his shadow giving him the advantage in the fight. A few punches later, and the Ghost is vanquished.
Wow.
But in all seriousness, what's the point of this boss fight? It doesn't tie into the story, it comes out of nowhere, and you can cut it out and never miss a thing. So the gate opens and, oh hi, Big the Cat.
Wait,
Wow.
Big is in this game? But why?
Can't explain this, Sonic, goodbye.
Gladly, GC. Because Big the Cat's gameplay was hugely mocked and ridiculed in SA1, Sonic Team decided to pull a huge middle finger and have Big the Cat make a bunch of cameos.
Jesus.
Either way, these cameos can be very random and can come out of nowhere. Right, Big the Cat?
Hey!
Yow.
So they make it to the center of the base, only to be caught off guard by Eggman as he threatens to kill them?
Jesus!
Wait, what did he say? Anyway, the boss fight involves Sonic on a giant statue called Eggman. Remember the Act 1 mini-boss from Sandopolis Zone? For some reason, it's back in this game. But this time, Sonic has to jump on the Eggman's platforms, because he has those now, apparently. And then you have to homing attack the button on top to weaken him. If you're playing the Dark Story, then Sonic says this.
It turns out that Sonic broke the restraining mechanism, causing it to lose control and betray its master, Dr. Eggman. And we all thought the Monster of the Week trend kept going with the final boss. So, since Eggman's mech can't jump all that high, we instead have to chip away at the Egg Golem's stone armor with the Vulcan cannon and expose 3 cores to shoot at. Sounds easy, right? Well, the Egg Golem still uses the same moves, and again, the Egg Walker can't do what a hedgehog can, so you're gonna be taking a lot of damage, and there's only so many rings to patch you up. The good news is there are now platforms in the quicksand with items to shoot at, so you don't have to worry about running too dry. Just don't fall in. For chaos's sake, don't fall in.
So Sonic and friends ride on a rocket as they head to the space colony Ark. Before we go any further, can we talk about how terrible the sound editing is in this game? Because it is. The English dialogue doesn't match up with the character lip sync, so there are times when the character would interrupt each other, including themselves. Sometimes you can't even hear the dialogue because the music is way too loud. If you wrote the subtitles, then you couldn't understand what they're saying most of the time.
You say sometimes the music is too loud, but I argue it's almost all the time.
Yeah.
Luckily, if you have the PC version, you can install a mod that automatically fixes the cutscene volume so you can hear them. Thank God for the PC version.
Yes.
The quality is all over the place, especially depending on the port you're playing. The Dreamcast version is riddled with these issues, and the HD remaster? If you couldn't hear Eggman before, you won't hear him here. Even some of the sounds got cranked up to oblivion. Pray things don't explode at the same time in this version, or else...
Whoa!
Yeah, that.
Whoa.
The GameCube port has the most balance for sound volume, but the characters are all tripping over each other's lines, literally making Shadow eat his
Woo! God! Continue on.
It's because the cutscenes are timed by the Japanese dialogue, and their lines are a lot quicker than the English dub. So a lot of moments, especially during the space shuttle scene, just come off like no one knows what their cue is. Unfortunately, that's not the easiest fix, though I'm sure there's one somewhere. Not 100% on that, though.
Back in the control room, Bruce gets word from Eggman that Sonic and his friends escape as he gains access to the space colony control computer. At last, he finds the info needed for Project Shadow, the ultimate life form. But suddenly, she finds readings from the Master Emerald as she goes after them.
After Knuckles leaves the plot for some reason, we see that Tails has created a fake emerald that has all the same wavelengths as a real Chaos Emerald. But its purpose is to deactivate the power of the real Chaos Emeralds. How? I don't know, ask Tails, he's the tech whiz.
Yes.
And then they leave Amy behind.
I hate you! You guys always leave me behind and have all the fun!
Anyone else wonder why our line echoes there? Anyway, time for the Tech Wiz's next level, Eternal Engine. The first of a lot of levels in space. Tails has to make his way through Space Colony Arc to break a power source in the deck to clear path for Sonic so he can get to the control room with a fake emerald. Well, that's what the Sonic Wiki page said anyway. I've been trying at this point, but I can't anymore. This level is so boring. I completely lose track of whether I'm not remembering this or the first part of the marathon level. Again, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Space is so bland after a while. I'd rather be fighting through Eggman's base some more. The arches all blends together so annoyingly. At least the part where you blast away all the parts of the power supply is a great way to rack up a big hit combo. Other than that, I'm full of sleep just thinking about it. Let's get back to the real star of the show. Eggman finds out about Sonic and the gang's arrival on the Ark, thanks to a separate energy source coming from the fake Chaos Emerald. Wait, Tails didn't think a radar would pick that up. Same wavelength and properties and all that junk. And it can be picked up by an Emerald radar.
Wow.
Miles Tails Prower, I officially dub you as the biggest idiot in Sonic Adventure 2. All of Heroes' hardships have effectively been because of your lack of foresight.
Wow.
You know, everyone complains about how Tails enforces being such a coward, but at least he was as smart as ever. No buts about it. Tails peaked in Adventure 1.
Wow.
Wow, sorry about that. So, now let's go on to Eggman's final level, Cosmic Wall. I'm sure this will be just as lame as...
Jesus!
Oh, heck. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. This stage is amazing. The gravity is lower here, so not only can you jump higher and fall slower, which is how I think it should have always been, but you can use the jet booster to fly up for a few seconds, making some of the most interesting and varied level design for the mech shooting I could have hoped for. Blast these pyramids away with your Vulcan cannon on rail segments where you really can rack up the points. The protective shield you find here granting you more health, shooting away a giant drill wall for the final stretch, effectively giving a mech a chase sequence like Sonic. This right here is the pinnacle of mech level design. Too bad Foxboy got all the short end of the stick. That's what happens when fans shout too much. You're gonna tick someone off at some point. Just saying.
Unfortunately, this leads to Knuckles and Rouge's final levels, Meteor Herd and Mad Space. Both levels involve Knuckles and Rouge finding the last remaining Master Animal pieces in the space environment. Out of all the stages in this game so far, the worst one has to be Mad Space, without a doubt. Not only is the anti-gravity mechanic clunky in this level, but also the hit monitors, which doesn't help you unless you're familiar with the level design, is reversed. And combined with the issues I've already mentioned, this makes the level even more annoying than it needs to be.
Yes.
Once that's done, it leads to a one-on-one boss battle against Rouge or Knuckles, depending on who you're playing as. Is it just me, or does it feel like I'm fighting against the camera rather than my opponent? Anyway, both Knuckles and Rouge make amends as Knuckles once again restores the Master Emerald.
So at the control room, Sonic attempts to place the fake emerald into the Eclipse cannon, only to be interrupted by Dr. Eggman as he kidnaps Amy. This leads to Sonic's next stage, Crazy Gadget, the second of the awful Sonic stages in this game. This stage has you pulling levers that flip gravity, which is very disorienting. And I hope you get used to that, because the last part of the level involves a maze where you have to flip gravity in a bunch of places. And I mean a bunch. Sonic arrives at the Ark's research lab with the emerald and tries to hand it to Eggman, only to be trapped in the capsule. Similar to how Shadow got captured years ago. But yeah, Eggman knows that the emerald Sonic was holding was a fake. How? Well,
Get a load of this.
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Because you just told me, Fox Boy.
No, he didn't. Eggman clearly found out about the fake emerald in the pyramid before teleporting to the Ark. My guess is it was just so that he was getting Tails to admit it. By the way, is this the only game where Eggman actually wears his goggles? Anyway, Eggman launches Sonic out into space with an explosive device inside and with a chilling explosion with a red flash over the screen. Eggman has finally gotten one over on his arch nemesis.
I guess he was just a regular hedgehog after all.
Sonic's final words reach Tails' heart, sending his confidence skyrocketing. Now it's time for Eggman and Tails' final showdown. It's like the blast fight, but your opponent is much more aggressive, the arena is much smaller, there are explosive barrels in the middle that can redirect your shots, limited rings, and to top it off, how about your opponent packing super attacks? Yes, something that sets the last character battles apart from the first ones is that each character has special attacks they can start using when they're lower on health. Knuckles and Rouge had this too, but dodging them was never an issue. Here, good luck.
Good luck.
The launcher isn't the hardest thing in the world to dodge. Just run around in the circle so they fall behind you. It's the power laser you gotta worry about. If that sucker connects if you're not at full health, especially as Tails, you will be fried. It's big, it's powerful, it's guaranteed to take a serious chunk of your health away.
Yes.
You can get away before it's done charging. I don't recommend using your homing laser shots here. They're too slow, and your opponent will almost always dodge it. Trust in the Vulcan cannon, the explosive barrels if they're close to them, or even the punch attack. You'll wear them down eventually. Just stay on your toes.
Let's see Knuckles outside the Ark as he finds Sonic, who somehow survives the explosion by, get this, using Chaos Control with the fake emerald.
Sonic?
Yeah, gamer?
What's going on?
How did you do that?
Did you really use Chaos Control just by watching Shadow do it?
Well, yes and no. Then how did you manage to pull off Chaos Control with a fake emerald?
Actually, it wasn't that easy. Tails told me that the fake emerald has the same wavelength and properties from the real emerald, but is less powerful. And while I did notice Chaos Control from my first encounter with Shadow, I had to quickly think about whether or not I could actually perform this stunt. But somehow, I did it, and managed to survive another day.
photographic memory.
No, there's more to it than that.
Would have thought. Rouge discovers the powers of the Chaos Emeralds and tries to take them, only to be stopped by Shadow, who now knows she works for Gun.
So you did your homework, is that it? I would say that's an invasion of privacy.
I can say the same thing about you.
She shows Shadow the results of the ultimate life form, believing that Shadow may not be the ultimate life form at all. What's this lizard doing here, and why is it not Shadow? Shadow tells Rouge that he is the ultimate life form, faulty memories or not. But Eggman informs both Shadow and Rouge that he has all 7 Chaos Emeralds and tells Shadow that someone is trying to stop the Eclipse Cannon, that being Sonic. So that's what Shadow does after telling Rouge to stay with the Chaos Emeralds. And this begs my question. If Rouge is supposed to be a treasure hunter, as he claims to be, then why can't she just take the Chaos Emeralds anyway?
Don't worry, there's way more plot holes in this game, as we'll soon find out.
This leads to the final stages with Sonic and Shadow, Final Rush and Final Chase. Like Skyrail, Final Rush is mostly rail grinding from start to finish, but instead of being stupid, it's fun! Mainly because there are so many opportunities for shortcuts, which spices up the gameplay, and it's all happening in space!
Yep.
Final Chase is mostly the same idea, except now there are tubes you have to run up in order to progress in the level. And that's about it, mostly.
Shadow finds Sonic, who is still alive after the exploding capsule incident. And like the rest of us, unless you played the hero side story first and saw that Sonic was still alive and Knuckles found him, Shadow was also stunned that Sonic managed to use Chaos Control with a fake emerald. The scene really shows a growth between Sonic and Shadow. They casually walk before starting to pick up the pace, and rather than dismiss Sonic as nothing but a worthless being, Shadow starts to see him as something far more interesting.
What are you? I see, but you know, I can't let you go. Your adventuring days are coming to an end.
I don't know about this, I don't know about this.
And now we get to the final boss fight with Sonic and Shadow, where you race against each other using the Lightspeed Dash to weaken your opponent. It's actually pretty fun, and not like the character battles we talked about before. It feels like a real final boss, but it's not that easy because your opponent will fight back with Chaos Spear. Yeah, you thought Shadow the Hedgehog had it first? Well, guess again.
Also, every time you pass Shadow, or Sonic depending on the story, there's Chaos Control to warp back to the stage after hearing this.
Wow.
So, Tails defeats Eggman while grieving over his best friend. But Eggman manages to snag the real emerald. However, Sonic bested Shadow and prevents the Eclipse Cannon from firing again. Tails and Amy overjoyed hearing Sonic being alive. With the last Chaos Emerald in hand, Eggman places it into the control panel, laughing maniacally as his plan to rule the world can finally come to fruition, only to have the cannon seemingly malfunction with a warning message screaming across the control panel.
And this is where the final story kicks in. Yep, after completing both Hero and Dark stories, you then unlock the final story that involves both sides. So let's get into it, shall we?
The ultimate life form. Chaos Control.
Space desecration.
What?
Untamed power of chaos.
Professor Gerald told the truth about 50 years ago.
Sonic Adventure 2. Last episode. Wishes are eternal.
To be continued.
How's it going, dudes?
Makes sense.
Subscribe and hit that bell icon if you want to get notified for upcoming videos. Also, be sure to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, as well as my character buddies on TikTok and video commissions. Link to those in the description below. Because it's a special review, here's Sonic to finish it off. Sonic?
Thanks, gamer. If you liked what you saw and want to help support the channel, then be sure to check out the Fairly Odd Gamer on Patreon. As a supporter, you can chat with everyone who helped out, as well as other fans, have your name in the credits, and even watch some bonus content such as sneak peeks and even early showings of upcoming game reviews. With that said, it's my honor to present this month's shout out to Alexander Bone, otherwise known as Wisdom Toad. Thank you so much for watching this video, as well as supporting the channel.
So that was it. Okay. So that was part 1 of Fairly Odd Gamer, Sonic Adventure 2 with Game Event 84 Cube and Songify. What do I think about this part? I think it was crazy, and overall it was a successful episode overall review, things like that. So overall, I think it was a successful review, no less. And yeah, I just don't know where the credits were at. So yeah, that didn't seem so bad after all. So yeah, it was a special review, no less. I was so speechless. I thought they showed part 2, they showed a whole 2-part series into one combined, but no. Oh well. That was the LJPCBM episode number 903, excuse me. Hope you enjoy it. Stay tuned for the next one, which will be the final part of Sonic Adventure 2 with Game 84 Cube and Songify. Now man, excuse me, I gotta get some lunch and things like that. Until next time, Sue Jones, goodbye, peace out, baby. Get more reactions, guys, be soon. Till Wednesday, out. See ya.
Given unto me this life I'll never take for granted, and given all the time I failed to really understand it, I never sought to meet the maker of reality, the one who gave the life that which is always happening, but I tried all the time. I ask, why me? Why was I the one to see things as I do under the moonlight and the sun? Perception is the question, and the giver holds the key.